Here are Grandpa's 35 genius hacks to survive in wildlife. Dig Dakota fire hole cautiously. Control smoke risk. Grandpa always insisted the Dakota fire hole was one of the smartest ways to cook while staying hidden. This method uses two small pits connected by a tunnel, one for fire, one for air. The design burns wood hotter, leaving little smoke to attract attention. Dig carefully in dry soil, away from roots that could catch fire. Keep your hole narrow and no deeper than your forearm for efficiency. Gather only dry twigs for fuel, as green wood creates smoke. Always extinguish thoroughly with dirt and water. If moving on, disguise the hole to avoid detection from others. Skip edibility tests. Focus energy on hydration. Did you know that the human body can often endure weeks without food, but only days without water? Energy spent testing unknown plants may risk poisoning with little reward. Instead, focus on locating and securing safe water sources such as streams, rainwater, or morning dew. Use cloth to filter sediment and boil whenever possible to kill pathogens. Avoid plants with milky sap, thorns, or an almond-like scent, which are often dangerous. Hydration preserves mental clarity and stamina for tasks like shelter building. Carrying a metal container for boiling water is vital. For added safety, learn to collect solar, still water in desperate conditions. Split wood carefully, baton only with safe setup. Grandpa used to stress that splitting wood with poor technique was more dangerous than useful. Battening, a method of striking a blade with another stick, requires precision. Place the log on stable ground and keep your supporting hand far from the striking area. Use a thick, sturdy baton stick instead of a rock to avoid damaging your knife. Always strike straight down, not at an angle, to reduce the risk of the blade slipping. Smaller pieces of wood ignite faster, making them ideal for kindling. As a precaution, wear leather gloves if available. Gather different sizes of split wood to maintain steady fire progression. Heat dry rocks beside fire, never directly inside. Warming rocks for cooking or nighttime heat is an old survival tactic, but safety matters. Never place stones directly in the flames. Moisture trapped inside can expand and cause them to explode. Instead, set them beside the fire, letting them absorb steady heat. Choose dense, dry stones from high ground rather than riverbeds, as wet rocks are most dangerous. Once warmed, move them with sticks to a bed of earth, then place underbedding or use to cook flatbreads. Always let rocks cool before handling directly. Carrying one wrapped in cloth can keep hands or pockets warm on cold nights. Carry tinder, protect, and transport embers between camps. Fire can be life itself in the wilderness, and preserving it saves energy. Carry dry tinder such as bark, grass, or feathered twigs wrapped in cloth or stored in a tin. When breaking camp, take embers from your fire, cushioned in ash so they smolder during travel. This lets you rekindle flames quickly without the struggle of a new spark. Protect embers from wind and rain by wrapping them carefully or placing them in a hollowed-out container. Always have multiple tinder options gathered in advance. For efficiency, practice sparking a fire on damp days so you know how to adapt under pressure. Stop, think, observe, and plan before moving anywhere. Rushing blindly into the unknown wastes energy and invites danger. Instead, pause and let your thoughts settle before making any move. Take time to scan the ground, trees, and sky for hazards or clues. Gauge daylight, weather shifts, and natural barriers like rivers or steep slopes. Map out a short, safe objective rather than wandering aimlessly. Mentally, rehearse each step before committing to action. If terrain changes or fatigue sets in, stop again and reassess. Mark your back trail with discrete signs so you can return safely. Carry a charcoal stub or knife notch to note directions on bark or stone. Follow rule of threes: air, shelter, water, then food. Did you know that during World War II, many survival manuals taught soldiers the rule of threes to keep them focused under pressure? The idea was simple but life-saving. 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter in harsh conditions, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food. This framework prevents panic and prioritizes actions when resources are scarce. Soldiers and outdoorsmen alike relied on it to conserve energy and stay alive longer in hostile environments. Train yourself to rehearse the sequence regularly. In practice, try building mock shelters or sourcing safe water quickly to ingrain the order deeply. Signal for rescue before wasting energy chasing food. In the wilderness, energy is your most limited currency, so use it wisely. Chasing small animals or searching endlessly for plants often burns more calories than you gain. Instead, focus first on making yourself visible to rescuers. Build signal fires in clearings, arrange reflective surfaces, or lay out ground markers like rocks or logs in noticeable patterns. Position signals where they'll catch a pilot's or hiker's eye. Secure a signal plan before pursuing food. Establishing visibility early increases chances of help arriving quickly. For added reach, keep a whistle or mirrored surface ready to flash across long distances. Sleep off ground. Insulate heavily with dry debris. Cold ground drains body heat faster than frigid air, making proper bedding essential. Gather armfuls of dry leaves, grasses, or pine needles to build a thick, insulating layer. Elevate your sleeping spot on branches or debris piles to avoid damp soil. Midway through a lesson, Grandpa once reminded me that an exhausted body recovers only if it stays warm and dry. Replace damp insulation promptly to prevent chilling. Always build bedding wider and longer than your frame to trap heat effectively. For more comfort, pile green boughs underneath the dry debris to lift you further from cold ground. Pile thicker debris layers for stronger shelter insulation. A shelter is only as good as its insulation. Thin layers of grass or leaves look protective but compress quickly under weight. Aim for debris piles at least 2 feet thick on top and sides to hold warmth overnight. Dry materials work best, but even damp leaves can help when layered heavily. Continue adding until the shelter resembles a mound rather than a thin cover. Periodically replace flattened material to keep insulation strong. For added stability, weave branches into the debris to hold it in place. If time allows, line the floor as generously as the walls and roof. Block wind and reflect fire, heat towards shelter. Wind strips warmth, while fire reflects can magnify comfort inside a shelter. Build your structure with the narrowest side facing prevailing wind to reduce exposure. Use logs, rocks, or even stacked brush to form a barrier that blocks gusts. Position your fire a few feet from the shelter, then place a reflective wall, like logs or a flat rock, behind the flames. This setup pushes heat toward you while limiting smoke. Always maintain ventilation to avoid suffocation. For safety, clear flammable debris from around the fire. As another precaution, keep spare wood nearby so flames don't fade in the coldest hours. Build lean-to shelter with long parallel warming fire. A lean-to with a fire running parallel provides both warmth and structure for survival in the wild. Start by laying 2 long logs on the ground with the fire between them, allowing coals to heat evenly through the night. Position the lean-to so the open side faces the fire, reflecting maximum heat. Add pine boughs or leaves for roofing to keep rain from dripping inside. Strengthen the rear wall with branches stacked closely to block drafts. Once built, this design conserves your energy and supplies lasting warmth. Keep a pile of spare fuel nearby to maintain the fire without venturing far. Heat dry rocks carefully, place near bedding safely. Rocks can store and radiate heat through the night, making them a useful survival tool. Place them beside, not inside, the fire to reduce the chance of cracking. When they're hot, wrap them in cloth or layers of bark before moving near your bedding. Position them at your feet or torso to keep core warmth consistent. Rotating rocks in and out ensures steady heat even after flames have died. Always choose dry rocks from higher ground rather than riverbeds to avoid dangerous explosions. An added benefit is using warmed stones to dry damp socks or gloves before the next day's travel. Raise fire on logs to burn above snow. Snow can smother a fire quickly, but a raised fire built on logs solves that problem. Place thick logs parallel on the ground to create a platform above snow or wet earth. Build your fire directly on this platform so the coals stay alive longer. The supporting logs will dry as the fire burns, keeping fuel constantly available. Stock dry kindling ahead of time to reduce frustration when lighting in severe weather. Prepare bark or twigs before nightfall for quick ignition when temperatures fall. A flat log angled behind the flames can reflect heat back toward your body or shelter. Carve feather sticks for lighting damp or wet wood. When damp weather threatens firemaking, feather sticks can save time and energy. Use a sharp knife to shave thin curls into a dry stick, leaving them attached so they catch sparks easily. These curled shavings act as tinder, burning hotter and longer than loose bark or twigs. They're especially useful after rainfall when most wood is soaked. Preparing feather sticks in advance ensures reliable fire starting when conditions are poor. Keep them stored in a dry pouch with your other fire tools. To boost your success, carve multiple sticks at once, creating layers of tinder ready for quick ignition. Use birch bark, fungus, or punkwood as tinder. Natural tinder sources can make the difference between warmth and cold when fuel is scarce. Birch bark ignites even when damp, while fungi like chaga burn slowly and steadily. Punkwood, found in decayed logs, lights easily once dried. Collect these resources whenever you find them, storing them in a pouch for emergencies. Shredding bark into fibers increases its surface area, helping sparks take hold quickly. Fungi serve well as portable embers, useful for carrying fire between camps. Keeping several options ensures you'll never be without tinder. Mix dried grass with birch bark to create a hotter, faster ignition bundle. Catch sparks directly with prepared char cloth. Char cloth is a reliable way to catch sparks and sustain them until a flame develops. Made by lightly burning cotton in a closed tin, it produces a blackened fabric that smolders when struck with flint. Even the smallest spark can create a glowing ember strong enough to light tinder. Keep char cloth stored in waterproof containers to prevent losing its effectiveness in damp conditions. Produce more whenever you're at a steady camp so your supply stays stocked. A single ember can extend into multiple fires. Place the glowing cloth inside shredded bark, blowing gently until flames rise steadily. Build small, airy fire and feed fuel gradually. A small fire burns hotter and cleaner than one that's overloaded with fuel. By allowing airflow between the sticks, flames rise consistently instead of smothering. Start with a teepee or log cabin shape, ensuring space for oxygen to move freely. Add fuel in gradual amounts rather than piling it on at once, so the fire keeps its strength without collapsing into smoke. This method also conserves resources, giving longer use of your limited wood supply. Keep kindling close at hand so the fire can be strengthened when needed. Dry twigs, pine cones, or bark strips make excellent early fuel. Boil water until rolling bubbles ensure safe drinking. Did you know that armies throughout history relied on boiling as the most trusted water purification method? Bringing water to a rolling boil kills nearly all dangerous microbes and parasites, making it safe to drink in the wilderness. Clear bubbling is your signal that the water has reached a safe temperature, not just a few lazy steam wisps. Boiling also improves taste by releasing trapped gases from stagnant water. While 1 minute is often enough, extending boiling time adds confidence when unsure of water quality. Pour hot water into another container to cool before storing. A covered pot reduces fuel use. Filter dirty water first through cloth or bandana. Before boiling, filtering water through cloth helps remove silt, insects, and plant debris. A simple bandana, shirt sleeve, or piece of linen can work well in the field. Layering cloth or doubling it over improves effectiveness, catching more fine particles. This step won't make the water safe by itself, but prevents dirt from clogging your boiling pot or giving off unpleasant odors. If no cloth is available, moss or grass can serve as a natural strainer. Always squeeze excess water from the filter material before reuse. For best results, pre-filter water into a clean container and then begin heating. Stone boil water in bark, clay, or hide container. When you don't have a metal pot, hot stones offer an alternative for boiling. Heat dry stones near the edge of your fire until they're glowing, then carefully drop them into a bark, clay, or hide container filled with water. This indirect heat quickly raises the temperature, making the water safe to drink. Replace cooled stones with hotter ones to keep the boil going steadily. Be sure to avoid river stones, as hidden moisture can cause them to explode dangerously when heated. Keep multiple stones rotating in sequence so your container maintains rolling bubbles for a complete purification cycle. Cook everything efficiently in a simple billy pot. Few tools in wilderness survival are as valuable as a sturdy billy pot. With it, you can boil water, cook meals, and store food in one compact vessel. Lightweight and durable, it fits easily into most packs without adding bulk. Grandpa always said a pot was a lifeline, since it turned raw plants or meat into nourishing meals under any conditions. Suspend it over the fire with a stick frame, or nestle it among coals for quicker cooking. Clean it after every use to prevent buildup that might attract animals. Dry it thoroughly before storing to keep rust from forming. Find east-west direction using shadow stick method. Finding direction without a compass is possible by using shadows and patience. Place a straight stick upright in the ground, marking the tip of its shadow with a small stone. Wait 15 to 20 minutes, then mark the shadow's new tip. A line drawn between the two marks runs east to west, giving you reliable orientation. Stand with the first mark to your left for accurate north. This method works best on sunny days when shadows are clearly visible. Use it to align shelters, plan travel, or signal direction to others. Repeat the test twice daily for stronger accuracy. Navigate by North Star or natural landmarks. Traveling at night becomes manageable if you can locate the North Star. This steady point in the sky guides direction when other markers fade away. During the day, hills, rivers, or unique tree formations serve the same purpose, helping you keep orientation without a compass. Landmarks should be chosen carefully, preferably ones visible from a distance to avoid getting turned around in dense terrain. Consistency in checking your bearings prevents long detours and wasted effort. Always verify your direction with at least 2 separate markers when possible. Mark your trail occasionally with stacked stones or broken branches to retrace steps. Signal distress using 3 fires, whistles, or flashes. In the wilderness, signaling is your voice across great distances. The internationally recognized distress pattern is 3. 3 fires in a triangle, 3 blasts of a whistle, or 3 flashes of light. These clear, repetitive signals stand out against natural randomness and alert rescuers to human presence. Position fires or reflective flashes in open areas where they'll be most visible. A whistle is especially valuable, carrying further than shouting without exhausting you. Keep tools for signaling within easy reach, since emergencies rarely wait for preparation. Practice using your whistle, mirror, or fire-making gear in advance, so signals are strong and clear. Stay put after signaling. Conserve energy until found. Once a distress signal has been sent, constant movement reduces your chances of being located. Rescuers first check the area where signals appear, so holding your ground increases your visibility. Remaining still also conserves valuable energy, water, and strength for true emergencies. Gather wood, water, or shelter materials close by, but avoid straying too far from your signaling spot. Movement is only advisable if danger is imminent or resources have completely run out. Improving your signal, such as feeding fires or clearing brush, is a better use of time. Create large ground markings with stones or logs to aid aerial searches. Master bowline, hitch, and clove knots for survival. Few survival skills are as versatile as knot tying. The bowline creates a secure, non-slip loop useful for rescues, hauling, or shelter construction. A hitch fastens rope quickly to objects, while the clove hitch excels at holding loads without unraveling. These knots are reliable, easy to tie, and just as easy to untie when no longer needed. Memorizing them gives you instant problem-solving tools in countless outdoor situations. Rope, cordage, or even strips of cloth can become valuable lifelines when paired with proper knots. Test your knots under controlled pressure before relying on them fully. Carry a small length of cord to practice daily. Twist bark or roots into reliable cordage rope. When supplies run short, nature provides fibers strong enough to become rope. Stripping inner bark from trees like cedar or basswood or using plant roots gives long strands suitable for twisting. By rolling 2 strands together in opposite directions, you create a durable cord that holds well under tension. This cordage can secure shelters, tie gear, or serve as fishing line in an emergency. Longer ropes can be built by splicing sections together carefully. The tighter the twist, the stronger the rope becomes. Soften stubborn fibers by soaking them briefly in water before twisting. Store extra cordage in loops for easy carrying. Mix pine pitch and charcoal to create glue. Survival often depends on making the most of natural materials, and pine pitch is among the most versatile. Heat it until soft, it becomes sticky and pliable, making it an excellent bonding agent. By mixing in powdered charcoal, the pitch gains extra strength and hardens more reliably. This glue repairs tools, seals containers, or secures arrowheads to shafts. Work carefully with hot pitch as it can burn skin easily. A small stick or flat stone works best for stirring and applying it. Once hardened, pitch glue can be reheated and reused if needed. Keep a few hardened lumps in your pack as portable repair kits. Cut away from body, respect tool blood circle. Sharp tools are some of the most useful survival assets, yet they also present the highest risk. Always cut away from your body and keep a safe distance, what woodsmen call the blood circle, from others when swinging or carving. This simple habit prevents unnecessary injuries that could quickly become life-threatening far from medical help. A steady hand and controlled strokes matter more than speed or force when working with wood, rope, or food preparation. Before starting a task, clear the area of obstacles that might cause slips. If you need precision cuts, kneel down for stability rather than standing where balance is less secure. Face upstream, unbuckle pack when crossing strong rivers. Crossing a river demands preparation and patience, as rushing water is deceptively powerful. Facing upstream allows you to see obstacles clearly and adjust your footing against the current. Always unbuckle your pack before entering, so if you fall, the weight can be shed quickly rather than dragging you under. Take short, deliberate steps, planting your foot firmly before moving the other. A sturdy stick used as a third point of contact improves balance and stability. Whenever possible, cross with a partner for added safety. If the water proves too swift, retreat and search for a calmer stretch downstream where crossing is safer. Wear wool layers. Avoid cotton in cold conditions. Surviving cold climates comes down to choosing the right clothing. Wool remains one of the best materials for warmth because it retains insulating qualities even when damp. Cotton, on the other hand, loses heat rapidly once wet, which can accelerate hypothermia in freezing conditions. Dressing in layers allows you to regulate body temperature by adding or removing clothing as conditions shift. Moisture-wicking underlayers, combined with insulating wool and a weather-resistant shell, create an effective system for varied environments. Always keep spare dry socks and gloves in your pack. When resting, put on extra insulation rather than waiting until you feel chilled. Change socks often. Treat hot spots immediately. Few discomforts can derail a survival effort faster than untreated foot problems. Changing socks regularly keeps feet dry and reduces friction, the leading cause of blisters. The moment a hot spot forms, stop and address it before it worsens into an open sore that makes walking painful. Grandpa always said that foot care came before nearly every other task since mobility meant life in the wild. Dry socks can be warmed near a fire before putting them on for comfort. If blisters do develop, cover them with moleskin or soft padding to prevent further rubbing. Keep an extra pair tucked inside a sealed plastic bag to ensure they remain dry in any condition. Camp away from widowmakers, drainage paths, and cold sinks. Not every flat clearing makes for a safe campsite. Widowmakers, dead branches hanging overhead, can fall without warning, especially in wind. Drainage paths, often disguised as dry stream beds, can flood quickly during storms, while cold sinks near low-lying areas trap frigid air at night. Selecting high, level ground away from hazards ensures both safety and warmth. Pay attention to wind direction and natural shelter, like rock outcroppings, which provide additional protection. Test the ground by lying down before committing to camp. Set your shelter facing away from prevailing winds to prevent drafts. Dig a small trench outside tent lines to guide rainwater away. Use bandana as filter, tool, bandage, or signal. A simple bandana carries endless survival uses and should always find a place in your kit. Folded, it works as a pre-filter for water, straining out sediment before purification. When injuries strike, it can be tied as a bandage, sling, or tourniquet in emergencies. Its bright color doubles as a signaling tool for attracting attention from rescuers at a distance. In daily use, it serves as head covering, sweat rag, or dust mask, depending on need. Soak it in cold water to cool your body in heat, or warm it near a fire to ease stiff muscles. Keep several bandanas in different colors for visibility, hygiene, and backup uses when one becomes too dirty or worn.